following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
This is Han Solo, and I'm going to be keeping you company for the next few hours right here on the Midnight Shift.
It's time to BS.
And we're both in character once again.
Let's get it, baby.
Mysh, man, how you doing, bro?
It's the undercover brother in the motherfucking house. Let's get it. Let's go. Pump your fist if you feel me and holler if you hear me.
With the sun in his eyes.
Yeah, I got. Hence why I needed the sunglasses.
This is gonna be a fucking great shit show. I love this.
It's gonna be. Well, I don't know about great, but it will be a shit show.
It will be a shit show, but we have no plans for this to be great. We have no plans for this to be terrible.
We had plans.
We had
those
plans.
fell through.
So, how do you want me to say it, or do you want to say it? Because originally there was gonna be what, 5 of us?
In theory, there was supposed to be 5 of us. Now, granted, some people may or may not have dipped out at the last second due to whatever obligations they have, but then it turned out that everybody dipped out because of the obligations they had, and it would just be left with 2 white boys. And the Bromigos Podcast, as we know, sometimes when it's just the white boys, it's not the most entertaining thing to happen to society. So, no, and that's not shitting on Hunter, though. It's like...
When it's just the mayonnaise, it's never
mayonnaise
is
just
a sandwich.
Yeah, if it's just the mayonnaise, it's like the spiciest thing that's on the fucking sandwich. So we needed a little bit of the sauce with my friends Panama and Daint, but even if it was 4 of us, it would have been great. But like, unfortunately,
a little bit of the teriyaki.
I don't even know if I'd call theirs teriyaki. I think
barbecue sauce. Sweet Baby Ray's?
No, not barbecue sauce. That's too basic for them. Definitely like a really, really good quality hot sauce.
Oh,
like especially for Mike because he's Panamanian, so who knows what kind of fucking spices they got in there. So
yeah, I hear you with that. I don't know. Whenever I think of Mike, whenever I think of good old Panama Red, I just think of he's hot sauce. Good point. Hot sauce, very high quality hot sauce, not like Frank's Red.
No, not like that. Not that basic bitch shit. It's something to put on the pupusas,
Oh, we have this one guy at my shop who he's from El Salvador, and every now and then, and every Friday or most Fridays he brings over pupusas, and I ask for like 4. I asked for 4 of them. It's like pork and cheese and stuff like that. It's so fucking good.
I've had maybe 1 pupusa in my life, and it was fucking brilliant. So,
do you want a white boy tip?
Yes.
So what you do if you have a cold pupusa in the fridge,
you
take a pan or a skillet or whatever the fuck. You drizzle a little oil, you heat up the oil, you pan fry the pupusa, and then you put an egg on top of it.
Ooh. Now this almost sounds like the skillet pizza hack that everybody uses. It's almost like how to reheat the pizza, but in reality that just takes far too much time and effort when you can just throw it in the microwave for 2 minutes and it's soggy. Yes.
Yeah.
But...
See, when you're engaged to a former baker, she tends to give me a few tips here and there about like pizza and baking and shit like that, and you never realize how easy it is to bake a fucking pizza. You never fucking realize it.
But who has the time for that shit?
Who has the patience? Who has
the patience? Who has the time? Who has the what's the word I'm looking for? The willpower to not eat that shit right there as it's cooking. I don't. Anyway,
I don't either.
How is the fiance doing, by the way?
She's good.
When's
she's
the
good.
date set
she
again?
Really is. March 15th, 26.
Oh, so you got plenty of time. Okay.
Oh, fucking plenty of time. Every now and then she worries and shit about like small stuff here and then. I go, just, babe, we have fucking time. Just,
Oh my God. Yeah, it's
Man.
crazy. I actually know. So I know two people that are either getting married or just got engaged within the last 2 weeks.
Really?
One of Yeah. So they're both like super young. Like I'm 27, so they're like younger than me, right? And
Yeah.
super young for me now is like 20, 21. So one of these girls is Muslim. She works. They're both my coworkers. One of them is getting married, I think, next week or this coming week,
Shit.
whenever this comes out. Yeah, so she's getting married. She's 20 years old. I wish her nothing but the best because she's already been married before, if you can believe that. You know, the way the Muslim culture does things, it's a little bit different. So I guess if they're ready for marriage, they'll go ahead and try it. Got divorced.
But the fact that she has one behind her is kind of a no disrespect.
Hey, listen,
a bit of a red flag, but I understand if she's happy.
I wouldn't necessarily call it a red flag. I mean, she said at the time she was ready, and it just didn't work out. So
yeah,
again, it's a culture thing for all I know. It's a culture thing as far as I chalk it up to, and I have nothing but love for her, and I hope this one actually works out quite well. And then my other coworker friend, who's like one of the nicest people I've ever met in my life, just got engaged within like the last 2 weeks. So
oh shit.
So like, and she's 21. So it's like everybody that's like super young, or that I consider super young, to be getting married or considering it is going through with it, and more power to them. But goddamn, I got to step my game up here because old man Mysh is he's falling behind here, bro.
So Joey Diaz, from North Bergen, New Jersey, comedian, great comedian.
Yes, I know Joey Diaz. Yes.
Then,
I didn't know he was from North Bergen, New Jersey, but I had a feeling he was like from New York, from New Jersey.
He's from North Bergen, and
okay,
he told this tip on the Church of What's Happening Now when it was first a church, and then I gave this piece of advice to like a bunch of people. I said, hey, Joey Diaz would say something, stop searching for fucking love. Let love find you in the end.
Well, as much as I want to agree with you on that, it's
I hear you. I hear you.
I don't necessarily buy into that whole thing. I'm gonna be honest.
I hear you.
I don't believe in because some people at that point will just be waiting forever and then it will never come to them.
Yeah.
I mean, I work in a gym, so like I see beautiful women every day.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
Like I flirt with them. I try to be respectful, mind you, because I'm not trying to cause an HR problem here.
Of course.
But like I flirt with them a little bit. I talk to them, and then like some of them I've gone on dates with. It's been nice. It's cool. Like there's one girl I speak to. She's a friend of mine. Like she's South African, so she's gonna be leaving.
Oh, there you go.
She's super attractive and super nice, and like one of the coolest people I've met since I moved from Jersey to South Carolina. But unfortunately, with the visa issues in this country, her line of work does not. Her line of work, she works on like boat. Like you ever seen the show Below Deck?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay, so she kind of does that. She does that kind of work, but on a much smaller scale of boats, not like the big fucking yachts that they bring in.
Yeah.
So she does that kind of thing, right? And like with how the visa process is in this country, it's like they kind of like customs will look at you a little differently if you're going from like one boat to the other, if you come in and out of the country for jobs.
Yeah.
And so she's just going to say fuck it at the end of the month and leave. So there goes that fucking idea. Even though she's a great person, I would have loved to have gone out. I mean, I've gone out with her, but we've hung out as friends and stuff. But like, damn.
You never know, my friend. You never know until you see it.
Well,
dude. So I think I've told you this story before, but I can't remember.
You may or may not have, but I have a really bad memory.
Okay, so Megan, her name, my fiance, we met 4 months after I split with this, in all due respect, psycho bitch. It's just
that's weird because it seemed like y'all were getting along, and then I don't know what the fuck happened there, and then you started dating her. So I'm not sure what happened there. But
long story short, she just didn't want to help herself.
Without going to the gym or stuff, or
in here, in the head.
Got
and
it.
mentally unstable, and I couldn't handle it anymore. So I had to get out.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was all set in stone of like, you know what? I'm just gonna stay single for a while. If she comes into my life, then great. And me and Megan met on Facebook. Funny enough. So we met on
Facebook dating or Facebook?
Yeah, Facebook dating. So
I've never had success with that shit.
So what gave me some hope is that she was very upfront and honest about what she was looking for in life, because she's a little older than me, and that's fine. We appreciate cougars in this.
How old are you again?
Establishment. I'm 27.
You're 20, so you're the same age as me. How old is she?
Yeah, she's 30.
Okay, I mean, MILF status, got it. I respect it.
Hell yeah, we do. Hell yeah, we appreciate MILF status in this shit.
Yeah, buddy. Oh, that was good. That's good.
I love it.
Anyway, continue.
I love this shit. So, and when we started talking, it was like something just clicked in my head. Like, you know what? Let's see where this goes. And then, few more dates later, I just asked her. I took the whole leap of faith in quotes, because she was pushing the whole leap of faith thing for like weeks. and then it turned to, hey,
but you wanted to be safe and you wanted to wait a little while.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that, because I didn't want to say I just got out of a shitty relationship, but it was more of a like, hey, I am tired. And I wanted to. I was ready to move forward with my life. I was at a point in my life at that time where I wanted to move forward and not be in the kiddie pool anymore, if that expression makes a lot of sense. Right? Like the
Sorry,
whole
you lagged a little bit on me. What happened? Did you say?
I wanted to move forward my life, and I wanted to get out of the kiddie pool, was the expression, and move on to the deep end. You know what I'm saying? So
that makes sense. Yeah.
So, and then we had conversations and stuff like that as months went on about, hey, how would you want to get married and something like that, like, just short little tidbit conversations here and there and shit. And then it went from, hey, I found a jeweler on fucking Etsy, of all places, and highly recommend.
Okay. No, I'm sorry for this face. I'm like trying to think, because like I'm trying to get the time frame. Like, how long were you guys dating before you decided, hey, I'm gonna put a ring on it?
It
didn't feel like it was very long.
It wasn't very long. It just under a year. So it wasn't very long.
Okay.
And there were some within the inner circle of how would I put this? Not disagreements, but out of concern and stuff like that. But as they got to know her a lot more and stuff like that, even my family was like, fucking put a ring on that bitch.
Yeah. And see, that's what I was thinking, though, because, like, as your boy, I saw this on the outside, and I'm like, I feel like he just started dating this girl, and I hope if he thinks, excuse me, English is hard, if he thinks he's making the
Where
right...
is it?
Uh-oh, retard alert!
That's good. Okay,
I've had fun with this. I've had a lot of fun with StreamYard, as you can see.
I respect it. Yeah. So I was thinking to myself, like, man, maybe it might be a little too soon. But then, then I was like, if he's happy, who the fuck am I to say anything, right? Now I know people that are taking like leaps of faith a little bit too soon in their.
Oh my god, I know people that have done that a few times.
Like, I know somebody, like her and this particular individual. I won't name names because that's too personal, but like I know a particular individual I used to be friends with, started dating this guy in March after just going through like a really horrible I won't even say breakup because they were never really together in my eyes, but she was led on to believe that she wanted a relationship and he didn't want it, it seems, from my outside looking in perspective. She started dating this guy like a month and a half later in the middle of being like a fucking depressed mess, mind you.
Yeah.
And then now they're living together, which
that's a
I'm a little
dangerous
bit
game.
concerned. I'm a little bit concerned.
That's a dangerous game to play.
Now I'm not friends with this individual anymore for reasons I'm not going to disclose, but like, and it's not anyone else's business other than me and that individual. But I just hope that they're making the right decision. Like I hear about it, and I hear about it every now and again, regardless. And I'm just like, I just hope they're happy. I mean, that's
I hear
they have that kind
part.
of trust in the relationship already. I guess so, but who knows? Sometimes I worry for people, regardless of if I'm friends with them or not, if they're making the right decision, because I know that if this was not to go right for her, let's just say a repeat of the past will probably ensue. And this time I'm not going to get myself involved in trying to help her. So what the fuck am I going to do?
Is your internet connection bad? Because you're frozen on my end. It might be mine.
How am I now?
You are frozen. I can hear you. I can hear you clear as day. You're clear as shit, but I just can't. You're frozen on your.
Yeah,
lips.
I don't know what it is. It might be you. I don't fucking know. Spectrum internet sucks balls. Okay,
Spectrum.
that's all.
It's Spectrum. It's Spectrum.
Yeah, it's Spectrum.
It's Spectrum. So apologies, ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching on YouTube and Matt is just frozen. That's fine. We can all agree that Spectrum sucks.
Let me know when it unfucks itself.
Yeah, it'll come to you. It'll come back eventually and stuff like that. But it's I don't know. I'm a whole proprietor of the whole leap of faith. Obviously, if you are absolutely comfortable and confident with being with this person and saying, you know what, I envision myself being with this person for the rest of my life, then all right, let's see where this goes. And fuck it, because I could speak from personal experience. I was at that point where I was just like, I'm fucking done.
Yeah,
like I was
naturally,
done at that
I
point.
can see.
Yeah, I was fucking done. Like I was fucking breaking myself in the gym to the point where I was just like, at some point, walking just gingerly because I was deadlifting like 400 plus. At certain points, it was there you go. You're unfrozen, and
hey,
there we go. We appreciate these things. Where's that delightful sound?
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
I fucking love Moist Critical.
I love him.
That guy. But no, yeah, I see what you're saying, because you were probably using that anger and hatred and whatever to like fuel you in the gym, and at some point it probably was just too much, right?
I can tell you.
Sounds like you're saying.
Well, without getting too fucking deep down the rabbit hole.
Yeah, that's fine.
I can tell you that it wasn't anger as much as just frustration. More of the fact than just numb.
I see where you're going with that. I have used similar feelings in my workouts because I work at a gym and I have no excuse to not work out. But mostly, it's frustration, it's anger, it's hatred. I wouldn't even say towards myself at this point, because at one point I'm like, God, I hate how I fucking look. But like, I know if I keep working at it, I'll be fine as long as I just don't eat like a fucking gavone.
I respect that. Me too, bro.
Yeah, I gotta fix that problem. That's the one problem I have, is not eating like shit. But like,
that's
working
the hardest part
problem
for everyone. So you shouldn't feel ashamed for that. That's the
I
hardest
know,
thing for everyone.
No, but it's just like but I work out, and like when I work out, I think of like particular instances that have happened over the course of the last few months where I'm just like, oh, you motherfuckers, and I just like lift a little bit heavier in the sense where it's like I'm not pushing myself to hurt myself, but I'm pushing myself because it's just like that extra bit of pre-workout that I didn't take beforehand.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, you motherfuckers, and I'm just like benching this shit like no problem.
I worked with a trainer for a couple of days. I joined a new gym recently.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And this dude's an ex-Marine. And yeah, he's the fucking best. And he made me do like 230 pounds, like push a tire and then farmer's carry and then flip it back 50 yards back and forth 5 times. And then like halfway through, I just kept calling myself a weak piece of shit. It's just, and it
He was
worked.
like, "You're right. You're a weak piece of shit."
No, I kept calling myself a weak piece of shit. And he was just like, "You good, bro?" I'm like, "Yeah, fine. It works." It's just,
Yeah,
he's
no, I
the
get it.
Marine. He's the Marine. He got to check it out every now
So
and
what's
then.
what's the diet plan like that he made for you? Was it crayons? What colors?
Green. It's just
Green. Yeah.
green and oil pastels.
Yeah, got it.
But no, but what has helped a lot more is if I ever feel like snacking, I found that air fried broccoli is fantastic.
See, I fuck with broccoli, but I've never done the air fry of it. Like I like broccoli with like garlic and oil, and that's like
Ooh,
as much as I would like to go with it.
you will hear me out. Hear me out on this one.
I'll hear
So
you out, but I can't
do you
say
have-
I'll agree.
Do you have an air fryer?
An air fryer, like not like the typical air fryer that you see online all the time, but it's
Not
like
the
a
big
toaster oven. It's like a toaster oven air fryer in a sense.
That works. That works
Okay.
great. So what you do is you take a little cooking spray, what's like the butter or vegetable oil cooking spray.
Uh-huh.
You spray it a little bit, drizzle a little olive oil, and let it sit there at 400 degrees for 15 minutes.
And
Fantastic.
it doesn't burn?
Doesn't burn. Well, it's gonna burn, but that's the point. And then you put a little salt on it. The point is to have roasted broccoli because it's a fantastic fucking snack. Because you get the crunchy factor with the broccoli, and then it tricks your brain, and then eventually your stomach to go, oh, that family pack of Doritos doesn't look too satisfying right now.
Yeah, because you just had something crunchy. I mean,
Correct.
I see there you're going with that. I'll maybe try that eventually. I'm like more of like the steamed or sautéed type of guy.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
good
think
too.
I just prefer it that way. It's just
Yeah.
a personal taste, but I see where you're going with that. I
Because
like
you're
that.
from I'm from New York. You're from Jersey. Like we get it. We get it.
Yeah,
We fucking get
the
it.
Italian way of doing things. We get it.
Yeah, of course, we understand that part. And the other thing that I would recommend is like have a piece of fucking chicken with it, where it's like the boneless, skinless thighs, or half a chicken titty, or whatever the fuck. Just get your protein in there and some shit. Chicken titty, you caught that?
I was gonna say I caught that, and I'm just like, man, they don't call me Motorboat Matt for nothing. Give me them chicken titties. But honestly, amen. I'm not a big chicken guy though. Like I don't necessarily like chicken. Like I like chicken like cutlets, like chicken Milanese cutlets, like that my mom makes.
Yeah.
Like I can do that. But like over the years, I have just found that the more I eat chicken, the more of a boring, bland piece of meat it is, and the most of the time it's overcooked to where it's dry if you just eat certain parts of it. Like if you're not eating a dark meat, which is the more like fattier, juicier parts, you're eating the breast, which clearly is not cooked the same in the same
Yeah.
amount of time. And it's like, I have to put something on here that's not as healthy because this shit is dry, like barbecue sauce or gravy or something.
Ooh, I have a tip for you then. I discovered something. So when you cook a
Go ahead.
steak, you take a little bit of butter and you melt the butter with the steak and you baste the steak and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
with like the garlic and the herbs and all that shit. Yeah, I've seen that. I've
Do
watched
that with
enough Hell's
chicken.
Kitchen.
Do that with chicken because the butter like seeps into the meat and it's not as dry.
Okay, that's a good idea.
It helps when your fiance is a baker and also cooks shit.
Yeah. Big
It
ups
does
to Phil.
help.
Big ups to her because
Yeah,
that's actually a really
big
good
ups.
tip.
Yeah, she's
Now
good.
the question is how much butter, because there's probably a certain limit the stomach can take. And trust me when I tell you, and this might be a little bit too much information, but I don't have any problems with my stomach. Okay, like I rarely ever have like the shits, so to speak, right? Ever since I moved to the South, there have been like 3 different occasions where I've been sitting on the toilet for an hour and being like, "Oh, is this gonna stop?" I don't know what the
And you're
fuck
in
y'all are cooking with down here, but
and then
y'all
you're in
are killing
South
me.
Carolina. You're in South Carolina too. That's a different animal than North Carolina.
I don't know. I don't think they're much different, to be honest.
Yeah, but depends on how far in North Carolina you go. All of a sudden you're in Virginia.
Yeah, True.
And we don't talk about Virginia. Virginia's weird.
Virginia is like that weird mix of North and South, but I think they still consider themselves to be a Southern state.
No, they are not South. If you're in Virginia, you're fucking Northern. You're a piece of shit.
Really?
Yes, you are. Absolutely. If you're in West Virginia, you're a fucking hillbilly.
Yes, that's a given.
And then your cousin's actually your sister and shit like that. And
cousin's your sister. Your wife is your third cousin.
And then you've seen VeggieTales.
I have not.
You won't get this reference then. And then God's looking down on you. God's looking down to you going,
"What you have done has made God very unhappy."
Yeah, I heard that. I heard the conspiracy theories behind VeggieTales, that it's just Jesus propaganda. I've heard that.
It is, which is fine. It was made in the 90s. It's excusable.
Yeah, I mean, it's like what was it? The 80s Mario show with what the fuck is his name?
Ron Jeremy.
But it wasn't Ron Jeremy. I think it was He looked like Ron Jeremy. I think it was Captain Lou Albano.
I think it was Captain Lou Albano and Ron Jeremy. Yeah, I think so.
Crazy. It's just like if you take drugs, you go to hell before you die. I'm just like, okay.
Okay. All right. Whatever. How much of a culture shock it's been for you since moving down to South Carolina from fucking Jersey?
A lot more Southern accents than I'm used to. Because when you go to Jersey and you go to like the boonies of Jersey, like Southern Jersey,
yeah,
and like everyone kind of has like that pseudo Southern accent that I feel like is not actually legit. It's like
trying too hard accent.
I feel like you're trying too hard to come off as like a country bumpkin, but in reality, you probably talk exactly like this, like the New York, New Jersey mixed style accent. I feel like that's trying too hard, but like here it's like genuine Southern, like, and keep in mind though, there are so many Northerners that have moved from New York, Connecticut, PA, Jersey down here that it took me a while to meet a true Southern person, like a true accent.
Oh yeah, that's right.
All that stuff. I think I maybe have more. I've run into more people that have come from the North than I've met Southern people at this point, especially in my gym, which is a mixture of all different kinds of races and genders and sexualities and all that stuff. I see Southern people, but I can see somebody. I'll look at somebody and be like, they're definitely not from here.
So you're too mean.
No, that's not they're too mean. I was like, they're too tan. They're too tan. That's what it is. It's like there's the only man I know who's more tanner than it. Like the most tannest man I know is Robert Frank 615, and he's as fucking Jersey as you can get. He's
my God,
not Jersey Shore. Not like Jersey Shore tan.
He is Jersey.
He's worse than he's Jersey Shore tan, but like make it black. And I don't mean that in the disparaging way. It's just like that's literally he is blacker than some of our black friends in our friend group.
But he pulls it off. He pulls it off really well.
Yeah, he pulls it off to the point where people think he's black and they're shocked that he isn't. Like I've seen like those types of people are here. Like I see them, I'm just like, oh yeah, he's definitely fucking from somewhere that's not here. Because I can just tell by the tan. Other people I mistake from Jersey or New York because they have that same look, but they're like from a different state entirely somehow. But I don't know. It's really weird. It's really weird.
Yeah.
Also, the amount of junkies I have seen is crazy. Like, don't get me wrong. I've been in areas. I haven't lived there, but like I've been in areas where I've seen junkies. Like one time, a couple months ago, before I moved, I was with my friend who lives by Philly. There was a fucking crackhead that was right next to me on the plane. He was like fucking nodding off. And his head was like on the floor, but he was still in the seat. It was like the most impressive feat of flexibility I've ever seen. There was also one on the corner that was like nodding off every like 5 seconds and then like waking herself back up, like that type of shit. Yeah, there's a lot of junkies around here. Definitely a lot of homeless people that you would think who don't look like junkies, but then like you see how they act, and it's like, oh yeah, they're definitely
Oh yeah,
they're on something.
We get that here on the island here and there.
Yeah,
that's here on the island here and there because me and Megan.
Well, it's Long Island. I expect nothing less.
It's actually not too terrible over here. I was
Myrtle Beach is a different story, but yeah,
Myrtle Beach is very different. We went to where the fuck did we went to Charlotte? We went to Charlotte a few months ago.
Okay.
And it was like not an impulsive trip to Charlotte, but it was more like, hey, she wanted to go somewhere for her 30th. I wanted to go on vacation, so I'm like, all right, let's go to fucking Charlotte, let's go. And conveniently enough, she's a big Jonas Brothers fan, and their father owns a fucking restaurant in nearby Belmont, North Carolina, just outside Charlotte. And she was like, I want to fucking go. I'm like, okay, let's go on vacation. Naturally. Okay, let's go. I mean, when I tell you that this woman is like devoted as shit, she has an outline of the three of them tattooed on her shoulder. Unfucking believable. So, and we don't kink shame this. She appreciates it. She loves it.
No, I'm not kink shaming. I'm just saying I think sometimes there's a borderline of obsession, and I think that's the line that people cross when they get the tattoo of the individuals, or at least the outline of them in this case.
Yeah.
I'm not shaming, but I questioned it a little, naturally.
Well, we can all agree that the Taylor Swift, the Swifties are just nuts. Right?
Yes. They don't have lives. Their lives revolve around Taylor Swift, and every time she revolves around a new album. But then again, a lot of the times my life revolves around people who fight in their underwear in a 4-sided ring with wrestling. So I can't really complain too much, but I don't worship those people like they worship her.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, we judge, but we judge, but we don't judge at the same time. I mean, I'm of the mindset nowadays where it's just like I work in a gym. I don't judge anybody that comes in, but when I fucking leave the gym, I'm judging all you motherfuckers. I see shit online. If I'm on my phone, I see shit online. It's like, oh, you're a dumbass.
Twitter exists.
If I'm on, yeah, Twitter exists still. Facebook exists still. Instagram exists still. Bromigos, as you well know, if you've listened to the show, we are very judgmental of individuals because that's just who we are as a show, and we try not to be. I think we try not to be dicks about it, but we try to be like, hey, this is why you're a fucking idiot, and then they don't want to listen to us anyway. So it's like, yeah, you're a lost cause. What can I say?
You know what you remind me of? You remind me of this meme.
Or here's another idea that's going to be very controversial. You could shut the fuck up.
I love Dave Chappelle.
I love him.
Okay, if there's one celebrity I worship, it's Dave Chappelle. He's up there.
Yeah,
there's a reason.
Carlin,
late Carlin is worshipable. I'm not so sure about early Carlin.
Like 80s Carlin or 90s Carlin?
The one where everybody uses his clips from like that one show that he did where he was like, I want to say woke, but he was like super political, but like everything he said made complete sense type shit.
Yeah, the more
that version of Carlin.
The more I've listened, the more I've watched George Carlin in the years. I'm like, holy shit, he called it.
Yep, he did.
He called it.
He called it.
He called it. That he did.
I don't know. I don't know what George Carlin was politically, but I can tell he did not like both sides at that point.
He did not, and that's where I lean on for a majority of like discussions. I'm what you would call. That's you. Okay. I'm what you call a realist.
Yes.
In this regard, where it's like, I don't give a shit who you worship. I don't give a shit who you support. I don't give a shit what religious beliefs, creed, sexuality. I don't give a fuck. If you're a genuinely good person to me, to my family, to my loved ones, to my friends, to my bromigos, that's it. I will be good to you. That's it.
It is the golden rule. It is that simple, but people still find ways to fuck it up.
Twitter, perfect example.
Yes.
Oh my god.
Or well, let's be honest. It's like you clearly still call it Twitter. I clearly still call it Twitter. Does anybody fucking call it X?
Nope.
No, exactly. You would think Elon Musk buying Twitter was like the greatest thing to happen to that website. It has been one of the greatest fucking debacles I have ever witnessed.
How much titties have you seen on Twitter in the last 6 months?
No, hold on a second. I'm not complaining about the titties. You know me very well to the case where I worked on a show where I called myself Motorboat and Matt. I still reference myself as Motorboat and Matt. I love titties. Okay, I'm not going to complain about titties on my timeline. With that being said, how the site actually fucking runs, I have a problem with.
No, that too.
That's what I have. I have problem with the
bots.
fundamental issues, the bots, all that shit. Like that's what I have a problem with. I have a problem with, and maybe the algorithm with all the titties too. Sometimes, like there comes a point where there's too much titties for a day. You know, like it's like okay, like this is a nice rack, but then like
this is true.
Desensitized to it, where it's just like you're not going, you're going like, oh, it's a nice rack.
Yeah, you're just
that type
going
of shit.
All right. Just going. All right, it's there.
Yeah, nice tits. Nice
That's
tits.
it's
Oh,
like,
nice. It's nice.
It's like King of the Hill. Like, yup.
Yep.
So
then, like it's gotten to that point where like porn is like I mean, at this point, I feel like I watch more porn than I would because of how much titties are on my fucking Twitter account.
Unbelievable.
But that's also the For You page I built brick by brick, so that might be my own problem. Same thing with TikTok. Big titty goth Dami TikTok is taking over my feed.
It's a dangerous game, my friend. It's a dangerous game.
Yeah.
It's a very dangerous
one big titty
game.
goth girl's TikTok and its entire fucking For You page.
Jesus, you know what helps in this situation? You're a Baby Rexa, or Baby Rhea, however the fuck you pronounce her last name.
How do you fucking pronounce her name?
I don't fucking know. I just call Baby Rexa. And
that's what I do too.
Megan fucking adores this woman. I just send her whenever. The only reason I follow this woman on Instagram is so I can send her clips.
You know what I love? You know
What's
what I
up?
love? Sydney Sweeney.
See,
when Sydney Sweeney pops up on the timeline for whatever she did on Instagram or whatever photo shoot she did, and I leave a like on it, for the next day and a half, it's like Sydney Sweeney shit. And I'm just like, yeah, I can look at this shit all day.
See, here's the thing. I'm a big dude. I have broad shoulders. I have you see my arms. I have pretty decent sized arms.
Yes.
I am not Robert Frank by any which way, shape, or form. However, I will say this. To quote Disturbed, I am down with the thickness.
Yes, I am down. You know what fucking bothers me? Okay, so since we're on the subject of Sydney Sweeney, what's with all the incel men that are on Twitter? That's the shit that bothers me.
Oh, the 40-something-year-old men that are like thirsty over her or some shit.
No, not those types of people. That is understandable. I mean, look at the woman. The fucking guys are like, oh, this chick looks fat. Like she posts like those the paparazzi pics that came out like a few weeks ago. Like people are like, oh yeah, she look. I don't know if they're trolling, if they're serious, but like those quote unquote red pill type dudes that are like, oh yeah, she looks fat. She looks like a whore.
What?
No one finds this attractive. Like those types of guys that are on fucking Twitter. The guys that clearly have never seen a woman in their fucking life, let alone slept with one.
The Andrew Tate boys.
Yeah, like those types of guys too. Like those are the types of guys I'm referencing. Those guys are losers. If it's one thing I hate, like Twitter being the whole quote unquote free speech platform, which clearly isn't because it's clearly for one side of the spectrum, like how it was before Elon Musk.
Facebook, even Facebook is still that way.
Yeah, Facebook is like that way. So it's just like they've given that group of people a voice now, or at least a more prominent voice. And I'm sitting here like, did you just call that bitch fat? Not saying that Sydney Sweeney's a bitch, but like that's what I'm. It's like you call that bitch fat.
No, I know what you mean.
I will fight you, bro.
I will fight you.
That is a fucking milkmaid right there. If I've ever seen one, god damn it.
I'm down with the thickness.
Down with the thickness, and
Isn't that a great thing to say? Just down with the thickness. Isn't that fucking phenomenal?
Oh, I'm gonna start saying that when I see people in the gym, where I just like, because there's a couple of Brazilians that come to my gym where I'm just like, oh my god, I would learn Portuguese.
I would pay people.
I would learn Portuguese just to try and talk to you, like that type of shit. Because some of them speak barely any English, but they're thick as hell. Brazilians might just be up there for some of the most beautiful women I have ever seen.
I went to high school with a girl that was an exchange student from Germany, and she was a gorgeous woman. I don't remember her name, but I remember a little bit of what she looked like, and her accent was thick as shit.
Oh, so you know the South African girl I was saying earlier?
Yes.
The one I was trying to date. Her accent. I never thought about this with South African women, because like South African is like a cross between like British and Australian in a sense. That's the easiest way.
Great combo.
It's like a cross between British and Australian with a little bit of fucking racism mixed in because you know how that used to be back in the day. So I talked to her and like in my head I'm just like my heart like I'm melting on the inside because I'm just like, oh, this accent is so hot.
To Google something real quick.
Oh God.
Just keep going. You're good.
No, I mean that's all I have to say. Like it's something with girls with an accent nowadays has driven me fucking wild. Like if it's British, great. Australian, fuck yeah. Italian at times.
Rhea Ripley.
Yes.
Need I say more?
Yes. By the way, muscle mommies. That's another thing I've been getting into. Rhea Ripley. Not that I ever thought like muscular women were. I don't know if I would say I was in that camp of like muscular women are unattractive, but I am not attracted to muscular women. Let's say, right? It's just not something that tickled my fancy, for lack of better terms. With Rhea Ripley,
I like pillows. You know what I'm saying?
That's fine, and I respect that. But I don't know, something about Rhea Ripley like changed my mind about that, and then I started looking at women like even past wrestlers, like Beth Phoenix, obviously a beautiful woman, but she was like a little bit too jacked for me, right? But now I'm like, oh god, she's fucking gorgeous. Now, what's her name? Jordan Grace from TNA.
Yep.
Also an insanely beautiful woman. Granted, she clearly has taken some testosterone if you listen to her voice, because she did not sound like that before she started taking lifting very, very seriously. Things like that. I don't know what it is, man. It's just like, oh yeah, some of these OnlyFans chicks that pop up my feed that I don't follow, just for everybody knows. Like that are like super jacked and shit. I'm just like, oh yeah, that she's super hot. Like
Death by Snow.
Yes, like Rhea Ripley. For as I hate that people sexualize her so much, and I know I'm kind of doing that in a sense too, but like her beauty changed my idea of what I thought about muscular women, because I wasn't saying I'm in the camp of, oh, muscular women are men, like some people are saying, because I think that's just fucking lame. I think there's a case of too much muscularity on a woman or even a man, because some dudes are just fucking so massive where it just looks ridiculous. I don't know. I just she changed my view on femininity when it came to working out. And of course, I see a lot of muscular women in the gym too. So that also widens my viewpoint.
You're just like, ooh, hello there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, respectfully, yes, but that's what I do.
You seem to be in a much better spot than you were. When the last time you were on here, the last time you were on here was a year ago.
That was rough. Yeah. Wait, hold on a second. How long ago was that episode? Because that actually is an important question.
I have the date.
Okay.
January 27th, 2024.
Okay. So a lot had happened since that point.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah. How much do we want to get into it? I don't mind talking about it if you don't, but
dude, whatever is, this by now as a longtime listener, friend of the show, you know how we roll around here.
Yes,
so
I know.
go crazy, my friend.
Let's say in the sense where the spiraling had to continue to a point where your boy had to end up in the hospital.
Yeah,
that was not a fun experience for a week.
If it makes you feel better, it'll be 5 years ago in about a week for me. So
fine, fair enough.
Make you feel better. So
that's I appreciate that. It does. I don't know if it makes me feel better, but at least it's something that you think about where it's like, I don't want to go back there again. Here's the perspective. Thing. I promised myself, because this is not my first time, but I only spent like a few hours in one of those types of units. I said to myself, this is when I was like in high school or like late middle school, I never want to come back here again. Lo and behold, many years later, things continue to happen in my life. Shit happens and I continue to spiral. At some point, your brother loses all hope. And I was like, fuck it, I got to go. Like I talk about it a little bit on several podcasts too. I forgot which ones particularly. I know I talked about it on Bromigos. I know I've talked about it on my buddy B-Word's show. But I don't know how much detail I've given for each. But let's just put it this way. At some point, I was in the middle of therapy, and I said, I can't do this. I got to go. So
I respect that.
We set it up. And this is keep in mind, there are two ways you can go in. Voluntarily and involuntarily. I chose the former.
Oh,
because I know people that were in that psych ward that were not there voluntarily and should never be released to the public ever again.
Respect.
And I'm not saying that because they're bad people. They weren't bad people. They were just clearly not in the state of mind to be in the public much longer, because they were either insanely rage filled to the point where I think they might actually hurt somebody, or their mental state themselves, because of health or age, was just so far gone that, it's like they probably shouldn't be in the public much longer. Lo and behold, needless to say, or not needless to say, like, the long and short of it is, yes, I was there for a week. I made some pretty good friends. I will say that much. I still talk to some of them. I actually dated one of them. I don't know how much of a good idea you wanted that was, but no, I can't. She was probably the best girlfriend I ever had for the period of time
there
we
you
were
go.
together. But in hindsight, you think it's like, was that really the best decision to make? Maybe not. But at the same time, I was happy. That's what mattered in the end to me. So
that's it.
Yeah, and we're still friends. We still talk. It's unfortunately she has her own issues she had to deal with, which is why
she's going through treatment recently, right?
Yeah, she went through. I won't put too much of her business, but she has a very awful neurological seizure disorder, which is one of it's like one. It's I've never seen. My best friend had Anthony, who I've known since 5th grade. He had seizures, but he's been good for many years now. I thought his were bad. Hers are like next level.
Shit.
Maybe levels above that.
Shit.
One time we were on a date and she had a seizure to the point where she had like a dozen different seizures throughout the course of the day that I sat in the emergency room with her, and I just couldn't bear to look at it anymore. It comes to the point where it's like you hear someone that you love very much and you're watching them suffer. Like she'll have a seizure for like 5 to 10 minutes, go to sleep, come out of it, maybe we'll speak a little bit, then like go into another seizure.
Oh, fuck.
And then the same process over and over again. Sometimes she won't even say anything. Sometimes she'll wake up and then just have another seizure.
Oh, fuck.
That's why I say, like, I must have counted at least a dozen. Like, no more than that.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was rough. It was very rough. But granted, I knew when we started dating, I knew this going into it. So I kind of expected this to happen at some point. She thought I was like super mad at her that I ruined the day because I had planned this whole day out, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no, I was never mad at you. I was just more worried for you than I was about anything else.
Yeah, and you're a good dude that way. You really
are.
Like
I stayed
for people.
I stayed with her as long as I could because I did have other plans that day, but I was willing to sacrifice those plans until at least I knew her parents were in the hospital and to see her and make sure she was okay. So that's really what mattered to me the most, was I stayed with her until I was like, you can go home now. And I still went out to see my buddies that day. It was a very intense day, very emotional day. But I'm like, again, like I made that promise to myself. If anything, that day taught me like patience with somebody in a sense where it's like,
yep,
you have to not be selfish and put your bullshit aside because someone else is clearly dealing with things worse than you. And it took me a while to learn that lesson because I still had issues of spiraling every now and again for several months. And it took me removing a bunch of very toxic people out of my life because I just no longer vibed with that friend group the way that I originally had, in the sense where I was just like, I know I'm not perfect and I make plenty of mistakes. Lord knows I have. And people that watch over me, if you believe in the afterlife, know I have. But at some point, you got to be like, you're not the only one causing the issue, and it's okay to leave an environment where you feel like you no longer feel loved.
Do you regret any of those decisions of leaving those past friendships? Like, do you regret those decisions, stuff like that, looking back on it?
I mean,
there's a follow-up question as to why. So
okay, I regret how it happened because some of it, I regret at least my role in it. If that makes sense.
I hear you.
Because I know what I've done and I know how I've tried to handle it. And sometimes I've tried to handle it better than other times. And again, I'm not perfect. I have my flaws. Every man does.
Everyone does.
Everyone does. But
yeah, even God himself. You know why? He made your ass.
Yeah, right. Shit.
He made my ass too. So
yeah, he made you. Fuck.
See, that's deep as shit, but it makes
He's
sense.
made a lot of listen. If you think about it, God made Hitler. That's the biggest flaw you can ever have.
There you go. See, you learning, bitch.
Yes, I am. So yeah, people will say like, "Oh, I'm this terrible." Those groups of people will say like, "Oh, I'm this terrible manipulative person." Blah blah blah. Meanwhile, they're also doing the exact same things I've done.
Yeah,
and they're blaming me for issues that they also have, and whatever. So I don't want to get too much into it because it's just dirty laundry at that point. But this is like for some reason I feel comfortable talking about it on public platforms, even though I try to keep it private. But since they also want to fucking drag it and make it public, I figure I might as well at some times too.
dude, this is a comfort zone. You're good. You know.
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Now.
But again, like I'm not going to give too much specifics. But like they're just they would rather circle jerk each other and tell themselves that they're good people and whatever reason, instead of actually looking at themselves and be like, okay, I have issues. Like that's what I had to do. Was just like when an instance happened with them where I was like starting to feel like I was no longer a part of the group. I had to look at myself, be like, why? Okay, I know why. I talk about it in therapy. It's like, I know I'm not completely to blame. But at some point you just got to leave because it feels like you're not going to get any better in this environment. You're just going to be more angry. You're going to be more hateful. And at some point hatred and hatred and what's the word I'm looking for? It starts with an R. Resentment. Thank you. Are going to form, and you don't want to bring yourself down to that point because you've been starting to actually get better now. So you just had to do what you have to do. And I mean, I've talked to people about that situation, and I tried to explain to them, like, listen, I'm not happy about my role in it, but I also think that there's as much to blame as I am. They didn't want to listen to that. They just think it's all my fault. So I don't. Yeah, it's their problem, not mine.
I've been through a few people in that regard.
Yeah,
and you know, there's some points in the last few months, whatever, that I've questioned. You know, like, hey, was all this shit my fault? And then I had to go into therapy and say, hey, am I in the wrong here? And then she'll tell my therapist, thank God for her, she'll tell me and say like, why are you thinking so hard to try and get back together with these people? And I'm like,
yeah,
because I have given people the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, same.
For a very long time.
Same.
And to ask you this question, I've asked, I did BS sessions with a good friend of mine a couple days ago, and I asked him this question. I'll ask you this: if you could go back in time and change one or two things in your life, but those one or two things would made you the person who you are today, would you still change them?
Ooh. That's a good question.
It's a hard one because it's a hard one.
It's so on the spot that I don't think I have an answer for it right now.
That's okay.
That's like when I have to like sit in silence for a few hours and like really think about it. I don't think you and I have all day for that.
Well, I can tell you Mike's answer was, and who I did BS sessions with a couple days ago. I know
Mike, Air Raid Mike, right?
Yeah, he's fucking awesome. And
yeah, he's a good dude.
Yeah, I did BS sessions 2 days ago, and I asked him this question. He said, no, I wouldn't change it because I'm a better person now because of those mistakes that I've made. And I said the same thing. I said, you know what? I've done some shitty things in my life. You know, some people may consider me a terrible person. That's fine. I know I'm not. I try to be a good person. And in the end, at the end of the day, those mistakes that I made me the person who I am today. And I can learn from those mistakes. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's how I think about it too. Or just like, at some point, people also have to take. I think the problem is nobody in that group took accountability for their own actions.
Yeah, that's a problem.
Time, and to me, that's a problem because, like, I consider myself to be a very, like as you said earlier, like a realist, a very realistic person. When I'm not in my emotional breakdowns, a very logical person, and I kind of look at things from all angles, and I can see why things are why people feel this way. But I also think in the way where I'm just like, you know, I see why you feel that way. But I don't think this is actually going to happen because I think it's just an overreaction to everything.
You see the flaws in both. You see both sides of every coin.
Yeah, which is why in politics I consider myself to be a moderate of sorts, where I'm just like, I see the flaws in both parties. Do I consider myself a little bit more right than left? Yes, in some cases, but I consider myself a little more left than right in some cases. Yes, but at the same time, I think if you at least have the open mind enough to listen to people, you can learn a lot more. And that's why, and again, it's just a shameless plug for Bromigos, but that's the whole point of Bromigos, is the fact that we have these uncomfortable conversations. We talk about things that are happening in media and politics in the world, and we ask ourselves, how do we ask each other how we feel about it. We sometimes argue, granted, but at the end of the day, like at least we at least leave with a better understanding because we've had those conversations, and that's like the whole point. Because if we don't have like B word
frozen, hold on, there you are. You cut out there for a couple seconds there, bro.
What was the last thing you heard?
B word.
Okay, so Panama Red was with B word on Unfiltered Discussions this past week as we're recording, and that was a great show. And like that's the thing, like, but B word always promotes our show in the sense where like he loves it where we have those discussions. And I think the problem is that people forgot how to have those conversations without arguing with each other. And I've tried to have those conversations with people, but all they ever try to do is argue and call me an asshole instead of trying to think about my perspective about it, where I'm coming at it from a very broad point of view. I'm considering everything, but I also feel certain things about different parts of it. Like, for instance,
this
the election
shit don't make sense here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like the election. I made a joke about the election about everybody crashing out on a private Twitter account that I have. And I was just like, I think it's hilarious that everybody's crashing out over this. And I wasn't making a specific remark to anything at all or anybody. I was like, I'm just going to fucking get it out of my system and say some shit. All of a sudden, I started getting a bunch of replies to people saying like, oh, so you like women losing their rights? I said, well, where did I say that? I didn't imply that. You did.
Mm-hmm.
I can see why you might feel that way, but let's be honest, it's not going to happen because they've already done enough to fuck that up in a sense with the Roe v. Wade overturn, which I didn't agree with either. And however you feel about the abortion laws is your own opinion, and that's totally okay. I didn't think they should have. I think they didn't have to change it. I think it was kind of pointless to change it because it just caused a whole fucking breakdown of state laws now to try and figure it out for themselves, instead of having at least one overarching thing, kind of like at least maybe setting a standard in a way, but whatever. But everybody thinks like, oh, so women are losing their rights is funny to you. I'm like, no, I didn't say that. I've talked about it on several different accounts on Bromigos, no less, of why I feel like that's not the case and how and they're like, oh, so now you're plugging your podcast. And I'm like, no, I'm explaining to you I'm explaining to you how I feel about pieces of media. Excuse me. Words are hard again. I'm explaining to you about how I feel using a piece of media that I own, that I still feel this way to this day. You can listen to it if you want, but if you think it's ignorant talk, then that's your problem, because we are as ignorant as we can be. We're still very intelligent in our own right.
Yeah.
Because Lord knows we're ignorant at times.
Oh, good God. Yeah, we are.
Not even just us, like you and me, but like Bromigos as the show is at times very ignorant, and I'm not proud of that a lot of times, depending on the topic. But
dude, you know how many people I've pissed off with my takes regarding the Seahawks the last couple of weeks?
Well,
you know how many people I have pissed off? Jesus. Horrible. Bless you. And well,
thank
you. Both of us were on Unfiltered Discussions.
Yes, I haven't listened to your episode yet. I don't have time to listen to podcasts anymore. So like I try to listen to shit when I can. It just so happens that Mike's came out this week and I had time, so I got to listen to yours next.
Yeah, you'll find it. It's
I'll find it for sure.
Yeah,
it's
you'll
recent.
find it.
I know it's recent.
Yeah, it's recent, and that's what I love about like these real talk conversations, which is like, hey, we can get different perspectives on random shit, and then we could tell each other stories and stuff like that. And excuse me, that was the whole point of BS sessions on mine, was like, hey, I want to give people a comfort zone to go vent about their shit. I don't care what it is. I'm not going to judge you. If you feel comfortable talking about it, that's fine with me.
Yeah.
And like, but also understand that this is a place of comfort, and you are welcome here to vent your shit. And that's fine. But some people take that as you want to use my bullshit as a way to promote your podcast. I respond with no, not at all.
Yeah, I didn't even respond to that at that point. I was just like, that itself is an ignorant comment to me. Where it doesn't even require me to respond to, because that just, to me, that's already an ignorant conversation that I'm not going to be a part of.
Correct.
And what was I going to say? And keep in mind, during the election, I didn't vote. One, because I wasn't registered in South Carolina when it was happening. So like I completely forgot to register because so much was going on in my life. And I was just like, oh shit, I can't vote anyway. And honestly, I didn't like either candidate anyway, so I didn't really plan to vote regardless. So I sat there and I'm just like, let's just see what happens and see the response. And everybody naturally was like, oh, see, we're trying to be tolerant of each other and whatever. And you guys are freaking out. Oh, the other side's a bunch of assholes that want to take people's rights away, blah, blah, blah. And I'm sitting here like, this is the same fucking thing that happened the last two elections. Like,
I'm an agent of chaos. I am an agent of chaos in that regard. And
not when it comes to the country I live in. I prefer not to be an agent of chaos.
No, I respect that.
I respect why you feel that way, but I am not. I am not in that camp, unfortunately.
You know what I mean, though. I just want to sit back and watch the fireworks.
No, I've been through with that since the 2016 election. I mean, like I saw how everybody reacted when Trump got in the first time. I saw how the Republicans acted when they thought the election was stolen, or whether they still think it is, actually, because I know plenty of Republicans down here that say it. So for me, it's kind of just like, like I'm kind of sick of this shit. Like, can't we all just get the fuck over it?
Why can't we just solve our problems with a simple game of Mortal Kombat?
Literally. Like the actual, let's do fucking Squid Game with everybody.
Nah, laser tag.
No, Squid Game.
Squid Game would be more fun.
Squid Game would be, listen, it would remove people from the problem permanently.
So what about Hunger Games? What about Hunger Games then?
Hunger Games is an option.
Because Jennifer Lawrence, hear me out. Jennifer Lawrence.
Also fine as shit, by the way.
Yes. She filmed a movie here on Long Island not that long ago.
Okay.
I forget what film it was, but it was what the fuck was it? Give me to the Google machine. Jennifer Lawrence recent movie.
Yeah.
Not that one. What the fuck was it? It was very recent. Just trying to remember what the fuck it was. Jennifer Lawrence movies. Not the Hunger Games. Was it No Hard Feelings? What?
I wouldn't know because I haven't seen that movie, but
yeah, I think No Hard Feelings.
Okay.
Yes. All right. She still looks good. Die on this hill.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I'll die on that hill any day of the week.
Indeed, we both will.
Both hills, if you catch my drift. He knew what I was talking about.
You're learning.
I was talking about.
You're learning.
Am I learning, or did I write the book on it?
That's good, man. Speaking of books,
Words.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Read
Book.
Read book. Yep.
Yeah. That's
I've
how
had
I
way too
read.
much fun with this.
That's how I fucking read now. I don't read books for a reason. I can't get into it.
I just listen to audiobooks. That's all I do. I
I
listen
can't
to
even do that.
audiobooks and
I
podcasts.
feel like I can listen to podcasts while I'm doing other shit. I can't listen to audiobooks. I feel like audiobooks you have to be like in the zone for it. And trust me, I know. I voiced audiobooks. I don't know if I've ever talked about this before.
You haven't.
Oh, okay. So back when I was doing another show, that wasn't Bromigos, that name will not be mentioned on here. Which they actually have, I think they're done now. I haven't seen them upload a new episode recently. We talked to a person who did erotic novels, and the offer was put out there. Hey, you guys want to do a book? And of course, we said yes. One of those books is finally getting released after like 2 years, finally. But ever since that first book I did with her, I've done a bunch of other ones for her. The other individual, not so much, as far as I know. And I enjoy it. It's fun. I like. People always say like, "Oh, I like your voice. Your voice is really nice. It's hot." Blah blah blah. And I was like, "Might as well put it to good use." So
Hey.
you can catch me on Ruin Willow's erotic novels. I'm a part of some of them under the moniker Motorboat and Matt. And you can listen to those books on audio. You can buy her books in paperback and things of that nature. Support my homegirl. She does really great work. So
There you go.
But it's fun. It's a very fun experience. It's also very difficult if you're not in that headspace to sound sexy. And as we know, last year I was not in that headspace to sound sexy. So that one of the books I did for her took a while to get done. Longer than it should have, and I'm embarrassed it took me that long. But
you got done though.
It got done, and I got paid. That's all that matters.
There you go. Well, what's some how the fuck would I put this? What is some tips and tricks from your personal experience that you can give on how you've been able to handle everything going on in your head? Because there's a lot of people that do listen to all 4 programs that I do. Mm-hmm. And one of the big things that I preach on people is like, hey, just get shit out. No matter how you do it, just find a way to get what's in your head out of there.
Okay.
And what is some tips and tricks that you can share about, hey, this is what helped me?
This is what helped me. Okay. So, first and foremost, talk to a professional. Even if you have to talk to multiple, you might have to pay out of pocket for it. But if you care that much about getting better, I think that's the first and foremost thing you have to do. I think if you need medication, you should also take it, but also don't make yourself a zombie. Because, I take medication. I'm on a very good mix right now where I feel better throughout the day. And I'm still very animated. I still talk to people at work. I'm not as like, yeah, this is going on type of shit. Like, I'm not like a zombie. Like, I'm clearly still as monotone as I am at times. I'm still very much animated, and I can still talk at a level where I can like have a conversation. So that's the other thing. Also find a good mix of medication to help you out. Don't make excuses to not do it either, because I know people who've made excuses like, oh, I don't talk to a therapist. I just deal with my problems on my own. Don't do that shit. I've done that. Look where it got me. I would also say make sure you have a good support system around you.
Yep.
Now, granted, I have made the mistake of having certain people in that support system that should have not been a part of it to begin with. And that was my fault for trusting them. I think it depends on who you can trust in that group, but always make sure you have at least a support group of, say, maybe family members if you're comfortable talking about it. I'm not necessarily comfortable talking about it with my family members all the time, so I normally resort to my friends. But there's also a level that they could take. You have to respect their well-being too, in the sense where it could be too much. I've also made that mistake, admittedly. So I think that's the top ones that I can name off the top of my head. Just don't be that type of person who's like, oh, I can deal with my problems on my own. I don't want help. Well, That's why you're fucked up in the first place, because you don't talk to anybody. And when people say, hey, I'm worried about you, you should talk to them.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also, you should respect, and again, I've been guilty of this too. You should also respect how much they can handle of that conversation too. I have a problem of being impatient in trying to have those conversations, and that has probably fucked me over more than I'd like to admit to. But it's at some point you gotta. At some point, if you feel like you have to do something, do it. But that's like a last resort.
Yeah.
Not like, an action, but like talking to
No,
somebody.
I hear you. You do seem like, and the more this conversation has gone on, you do seem to be in a better place than where you were.
Oh yeah, for
this
sure.
time a year ago, and I'm proud of you for that, man. And that took that. It's a long journey. There's no deadline for it, and
yes,
there is absolutely no deadline for it. You feel better when you feel better, but even when you feel better, there's still going to be some some nooks and crannies here and there that you're gonna have to go. All right, I gotta work on that.
Yeah,
still happens to me. I'm a sensitive son of a bitch, and I can proudly fucking admit that.
As am I.
Yeah, I've been called sensitive Sally by many of people, and that pisses me the fuck off because that's who I am as a person. Because I give a shit about people, but sometimes I get too sensitive, and then I have to go, oh man, all right, I gotta work on that, and that's fine. That's nothing. There's nothing wrong with adding more improvements to your house. There's nothing wrong with that, and
as I have said before, someone whose name will no longer be mentioned by my fucking mouth anyway, once told me, every day you wake up is another day you win the fight. And to quote my buddy B-Word, at least paraphrase, there also comes a lot of training for that fight that you have to do. And that is an important part of that journey as well, is the training that you have to have for that fight. So the more training you have under your belt, the more prepared you're going to be. It took me, like I said, it took me a very long time, but I'm currently in a place that I feel a little bit better in, and I feel a lot more comfortable. I'm in an environment that I feel more loved and appreciated in, and I don't feel like I'm going to have people come down on me for any fucking thing I say, or I have to watch what I say around people. Which is why I've been kind of a little bit more unhinged on Bromigos, because I'm just like, I ain't got to worry about anybody finding this really now anymore.
Hell yeah.
So, I can kind of say some shit I want to say now. So, and Lord knows I have. But yeah.
And that's it, my friend. That's it. Just enjoy the time that you have. Take advantage of the time that you do have in this world. And you take as much time as you need to improve yourself and to be a better person and a better man, more importantly, for yourself and for others. And there's absolutely zero wrong with that.
And I think that's probably one of my, I hate to say the word New Year. I hate to use the phrase New Year's resolutions, but that's definitely one of my New Year's resolutions, is to keep building off of that. For sure. And of course, I think this is for anybody, like just keep working on passions you have. That's another thing I try to do, is like you find passions that can get your mind off of it for a period of time. Like I use Bromigos as a therapy in a sense, where it's like, I can talk with my boys for an hour or so, and I edit and I enjoy that process. I enjoy making the videos that I upset people on TikTok. That's the other thing. I like get off on that shit now. When I see like 30 fucking comments of people like hating what we say, I'm like, oh, this is great. Because I know
you're a cynical fucker too.
I don't know if I'd say I'm cynical, but I certainly just like, in the sense where you said you're the agent of chaos, I am also that agent of chaos, where I just like to make people upset with the things that we say, and I intentionally put out clips from Bromigos that I know will do that. Case in point, our Travis Hunter video. A lot of people didn't like that. But at the same time, that was also a bit outdated, because we had felt a certain way at the point of recording. We learned more about the situation after we recorded, but I still put out the video anyway because I wanted people to be upset, and lo and behold, it worked out in our favor.
I love it. I love it, because I like to look at the comment section here and there. I just go, this screams more about you than it does about me.
Yeah, I like upsetting people. That's really what it is.
I do too.
Like I said, I mean, maybe getting off on it was maybe a phrase that's out there, but like I kind of get off on it, where I'm just like, I scroll through the comments of our shit and I smile. Like I scroll through our comments and like if it's insulting me, if it's insulting anybody on the show, I just like kind of smile at them. And I'm just like, thanks for helping the algorithm, motherfucker. The more you comment, the more people are gonna see this.
I love it. I love it. Oh, it's fucking great.
Yeah, that's the other thing I do. And then of course I do like a bunch of streaming and gaming. At least I try to outside of work. So like that is kind of good for me. So I'm trying to build a platform on there again, work on that. So
I thought about doing streaming. I thought about doing streaming of games, but then it just I do this already. I do 4 of these fucking shows. It's a pain in the dick.
yeah, and I get that, but like you also shouldn't have to burn yourself out too, you know? Like you should still do things that you have time that you enjoy. Because like that's the thing. Like that's why I'm glad I'm not doing that other show I was a part of anymore. Because at some point it became too much for me, and I was doing 2 shows, right?
Yeah.
But when I left that other show, I was like, now I can just focus all my energy on Bromigos. And you know, it's had its faults because sometimes I can't put as much energy as I want to. But my goal this year, if you've seen my video on social media, you know, let's make the wannabe undercover brother famous. Famous last words from Panama Red. Now he just sparked a fire under me. That I'm just like, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to try and get myself famous. And
there you go. There you go. And I'm thankful that this show in particular, BS Sessions, like, hey, once in a while, if I could just call people and be like, hey, get your ass over here. I got 3 microphones. Let's cause some chaos. And
yeah, I'm more upset that I couldn't get you on. I hate that Bromigos fell through today because like I was looking forward to it. And then like everybody was like, yeah, shit happened, bro. And I'm just like, fuck.
Dude, literally don't feel bad if it needs to come, if it happens like next week. Like I do work until like 4:30. So
yeah,
if we
that's the problem.
That's the problem. So
this week would have been perfect.
Yeah, but we'll figure something out, dude. Don't worry about it.
We'll figure something out.
We'll figure something out. But with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, that'll do it for BS Sessions Volume 44. Thanks to the Mysh man, the undercover brother from the Bromigos Podcast over in South Carolina, formerly of New Jersey, joining the department.
Not formerly. We're still here. We're still a Jersey at heart. I do the fist pump every now and again just to make myself feel at home.
I have a Long Island tattoo. How the fuck do you think I feel?
Yeah, well, you're also a Islanders fan, and yeah.
Before we talk about that, and before we close up, this season has made me feel so depressed as a fan.
In general, or like a fan of your team? Because
as
if you
a fan
think
of the team,
if you think you're depressed, I'm on suicide watch. Okay, not literally, but you know what I'm trying to say. Anyway,
I know what you mean, but no, but like because the Rangers, like Megan's a Ranger fan. And so, but I growing up as a childhood Islander fan, I dealt with the dark ages from like the 90s going forward until Lou got there. And it feels slowly but surely that dark ages era is coming back. And it makes me feel sad. And I don't want to go back to that point.
I remember the mid 2000s Rangers. They weren't all that great.
No, they were not.
And I kind of don't want to deal with that again. Yeah.
You know what I mean, though?
I know how you feel, but here's what I would say. As much as this Rangers season is paining me, because I'm not an Islanders fan, nor will I ever be. Sorry.
It's all good. We don't kink shame.
There are people out there that are unhappy at the season who I am glad are unhappy because they deserve it because they're pieces of shit. Anyway, that's all I was saying. There are many people that myself and another friend of mine, her and I talk about this all the time because she's been treated poorly by the fandom for whatever reason. I have been treated by people who I thought were my friends poorly in the fandom. And now I'm happy to see them unhappy. And I can sit and watch Liverpool hopefully win the Premier and Champions League this year. So at least I have something to look forward to.
There you go.
So that's so I at least I still have Liverpool and the Knicks to keep me hopeful.
I got the other one right here too. So
wait, what?
I got the other tattoo right here, Sue.
Seahawks. Well, I can't. I don't have my. You have the Seahawks, but I can't see it because I don't have my fucking glasses on.
It's all good. Yeah, I'm trying to work on 2 sleeves, so
that's a lot of money.
I got time before I get married.
Spend it wisely, or else you're gonna have a fucking wedding in a barn.
No, we already booked it. That's the
Smart,
thing.
man.
We booked it almost 2 years in advance, so we're good.
Smart, very smart.
Thank fuck for that. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in to BS Sessions Volume 44. I am Staniel Smooth. I'm coming to you from the lovely beaches of Long Island, New York, and I will see you all in this life and most certainly the next one. Cheers, guys. Bam.